So, picture this. A 14-year-old is stranded with a flat tire in the pouring rain.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right. And at the exact same time, a family member just delivered this really severely manipulative ultimatum.
Wow. Talk about a rough day.
Seriously. And right in the middle of all this visceral, immediate chaos, a medical spa owner is staring down a grueling $12,000 accounting bill.
From a family member, no less.
Exactly, from an incredibly condescending vendor. So welcome to the deep dive. Today we are basically being a fly on the wall for this raw, unfiltered business advising session.
Yeah, between an expert business advisor and an anonymous small business owner, it's a really fascinating source.
It really is. And, we aren't looking at theoretical boardroom strategies today. We are extracting the actionable gold from the messy, chaotic reality of running a company while real life is actively, exploding around you.
Because that's the reality for most people listening, right?
100%. So we're going to be looking at 3 core operational challenges this owner faces and the 3 strategic lessons her advisor provides to solve them. So, okay, let's unpack this because the baseline dynamic of this recording is just stunning.
It's wild.
You have an owner managing explosive digital growth alongside this crushing interpersonal drama, paired with an advisor who serves as this anchor of cold strategic clarity.
Yeah, and the contrast is what makes this source material so compelling. I mean, we often treat executive leadership as a purely intellectual exercise.
Right, like it's all just spreadsheets and strategy.
Exactly. But from the very first minute of the session, the cognitive load on this owner is just overwhelming. She is actively mourning her 2 teenage children moving out.
Which is huge on its own.
Huge.
Yeah.
And she's navigating that harsh family ultimatum you mentioned, which involves listing a shared property. And then
the flat tire.
Yes. The logistical panic of the son's flat tire literally hits her phone mid-sentence. She is trying to analyze complex profit and loss statements while her nervous system is basically in full fight-or-flight mode.
Which is, running a business in this state isn't like playing chess in a quiet study. It's like playing chess while balancing on a BOGO board, while people are actively hurling water balloons at your head.
That is the perfect analysis.
The immediate question for me is just, how does any entrepreneur function with this baseline level of noise without just shutting down entirely?
Well, what's fascinating here is the specific physical coping mechanism she employs just to survive the hour. The advisor actually pauses the whole session to commend her maturity.
Really? Just stops the business talk.
Yeah, noting that the owner doesn't just bury her head in the sand. Instead, she utilizes a tactile grounding technique her therapist taught her. She actively takes handwritten notes.
Oh, wow. So simple, but I guess it works.
She explicitly states that if she simply sat and listened, her mind would just spiral into the family conflict or drift off to the logistics of her upcoming vacation to Jamaica.
So the physical act of writing becomes this tether. It forces the brain to convert abstract anxiety into a concrete motor function. You can't mentally spiral if your prefrontal cortex is actively occupied with translating spoken words into ink on paper.
Precisely the mechanism. It completely overrides the amygdala hijack. We categorize business skills as marketing, finance, and operations.
Right.
But the bedrock of all of those is emotional regulation. If you cannot ground yourself when those water balloons are hitting you, strategic decision-making is basically impossible.
It challenges anyone listening to this deep dive to identify their own tactile tether. Like when the external noise threatens to derail your professional focus, what is your equivalent of putting pen to paper?
Yeah, what keeps you in the room?
Exactly. And finding the tether is vital because that external family drama isn't operating in a vacuum. It is directly bleeding into the structural integrity of her business, which brings us to the money mess.
Oh, the accounting situation.
Yeah, the family ultimatum she received is actually tied to the fact that her current accountant is extended family. It's her sister-in-law's husband.
So the emotional conflict and the operational bottleneck are literally the same thing here.
Completely. She is paying a staggering $12,000 fee to this new family-tied accountant just to clean up the disastrous books left behind by a previous vendor.
And $12,000 for a small business is no joke.
Not at all. And paying that premium isn't even buying her peace of mind or, honestly, respect. The owner is asking fundamental questions about gross revenue discrepancies.
As she should.
Right. She is looking at her point-of-sale software reports versus the bank deposit reports the accountant is generating, and the numbers just do not match.
Yeah, they almost never do initially.
Right. But instead of explaining the variance, The accountant gets deeply annoyed, treating her like a total nuisance. He completely refuses to provide a timeline for when this massive cleanup project will even be finished.
Okay, this requires a quick look under the hood at how revenue tracking actually functions, because her confusion is completely justified here.
Oh, please break that down.
So a point-of-sale system recognizes revenue the exact second the credit card is swiped, right?
Right. It instantly says you made money.
But the bank deposit might not hit the account for 2 to 3 days. It gets delayed by weekend batching, and crucially, it arrives net of merchant processing fees.
Ah, the fees.
Yeah, so the POS says you made $500, but the bank shows $485 arriving on a Tuesday.
So it looks like money is just missing to the owner.
Exactly. And a competent financial partner explains that timing and fee reconciliation to the CEO. A dismissive one just expects you to blindly trust the final spreadsheet.
Which sets up the advisor's first major strategic lesson, which is enforcing strict financial deadlines.
And she does not sugarcoat it.
No, the advisor cuts completely through the emotional guilt of the family dynamic. She instructs the owner to demand a concrete, non-negotiable deadline for the deliverables.
Yeah, I think she specifically targets July 30th as the hard date.
Yes, July 30th. The philosophy is that a financial partner must educate the CEO on the why and how of the data.
Not just hand over a bill.
Exactly. But, so what does this all mean for the practical reality of the owner? Because I have to push back on the advisor's approach just a little bit here.
Okay, let's hear.
Sending a sternly worded email with a hard corporate deadline to your sister-in-law's husband is guaranteed to ignite a firestorm. I mean, Thanksgiving is effectively ruined, right?
Yeah, the turkey is going to be very awkward.
Seriously. So is it genuinely realistic to demand Fortune 500 boundaries in a tangled small business family dynamic like that?
Well, I mean, the alternative is flying a commercial airliner blindfolded.
Oof. Yeah, that's a good point.
The emotional fallout of setting that boundary is severe, but it is temporary. The structural ruin of operating without accurate financial data that is permanent.
Permanent damage, right.
The advisor makes it incredibly clear if this accountant cannot hit the July 30th deadline and refuses to explain the data without condescension, you separate the family tie from the business function and find a new vendor.
Wow.
You know, you just cannot optimize a business if the person holding the map gets angry when you ask them to point out north.
That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Demanding that financial transparency is really only half the battle, though. Because you can't hand a new accountant clean books if your daily operations are generating a chaotic paper trail in the first place.
Right, you have to fix the source of the data, too.
Exactly. Which explains why the owner is intentionally putting a hard pause on hiring a replacement for a recently departed employee. She realizes you just cannot scale chaos.
And honestly, stabilizing the current environment before introducing new variables is a really rare display of restraint.
Usually people just want to hire fast.
Right. Too many founders try to hire their way out of operational dysfunction, which only amplifies the underlying errors.
Yeah, it just makes the mess bigger. So that restraint leads to the advisor's second lesson, which is standardizing operations.
Getting the house in order.
Right. They start locking down the human resources and compliance side by migrating everything to a centralized platform called Gusto.
Which is a great move, getting away from paper files.
Completely away from scattered paper files. The owner institutes digital clinical checkoff lists for HIPAA compliance and laser competency.
Very important for a medical spa.
Super important.
Yeah.
And she even mandates specific health screenings like tuberculosis skin tests or chest x-rays for all staff, paid for by the company.
Building a baseline.
Yeah, she is building an identical, repeatable foundation for whenever she is finally ready to hire again.
But, you know, standardizing internal compliance is really just the warm-up here. The real tension emerges when they attempt to standardize external communication.
Oh, yes.
They're using an automation software called Go High Level for inbound leads.
And this is the AI dilemma. And the owner's resistance here is just so relatable. She pushes back hard against implementing the platform's AI autoresponders.
So she knows her clients.
Exactly. Her high-ticket medical spa clients expect a specific bedside manner. They expect her personal warmth, her specific colloquialisms, her gratitude.
I'm not a robot.
Right. She tells the advisor flat out that she can instantly spot a sterile AI response. It annoys her, and she totally refuses to subject her clients to that cognitive disconnect.
And honestly, the fear of brand degradation through lazy automation is entirely valid. Relying on a generic large language model to handle nuanced customer inquiries usually results in that frustrating chatbot loop we've all experienced.
Ugh, the worst. Press 1 for more options.
Exactly. But the advisor doesn't suggest abandoning the software entirely. Instead, she provides this amazing framework for authentic automation.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
The advisor tells the owner to open a simple Excel spreadsheet and manually script out her natural, highly specific responses to a wide matrix of potential client triggers.
Basically mapping her brain.
She essentially tells the owner to map out her own empathy. You feed that spreadsheet into the machine learning so it adopts her exact cadence and tone.
So you aren't using AI to replace the human. You're using the software to scale the founder's specific emotional intelligence.
Which is brilliant.
It is. The great irony of deploying effective artificial intelligence in a service business is that it actually requires an exhausting amount of deeply human manual labor up front.
Right. You can't just flip a switch.
No, you have to distill your personality into a highly concentrated data set so the machine can accurately replicate it across hundreds of interactions without sounding hollow.
And once that authentic communication is standardized, the operational foundation is finally solid enough to support real growth.
And her marketing engine is already running pretty hot.
Oh, it's on fire. They brought on a new social media manager who actually works in the office, which is a physical presence the owner deeply appreciates, and their TikTok account is just going viral.
Nice.
Yeah. They bypassed their previous issues with account bans, surged to over 15,000 followers, and the phones are just ringing off the hook.
But traffic and attention are surging, but the conversion tracking is fundamentally broken. This is the third major operational challenge they dive into.
The digital gap here is just massive. The owner's main website analytics are completely failing to communicate with her third-party booking platform, Vagaro.
And this is such a common headache.
Oh, yeah. And the web developer managing the site got incredibly defensive when confronted with this, but the reality is glaring. Basically, a potential client watches a viral TikTok, clicks through to the main website, browses the services, and clicks Book Now.
Okay.
But that click redirects them to the Vagaro domain.
And the moment they cross domains, the tracking ecosystem collapses.
Poof, gone.
Yep. The API integration between the website and the booking software is either broken or improperly configured, meaning the attribution tags, the UTM parameters that tell the software where the user came from are just stripped away completely.
So what does that look like on her end?
Well, the main website registers that the user bounced and left, while Vagaro registers a new booking, but has absolutely no idea how that person arrived.
So she has thousands of inbound leads, but zero mathematical proof of which specific videos, campaigns, or website pages are actually generating revenue.
The data just evaporates.
The web guy apparently ranted defensively for 3 minutes about it, and the owner just calmly replied, "That still doesn't matter. My tracking ends here, and as a business owner, that does nothing for me."
Which is an excellent display of boundary setting, by the way.
So good.
And it perfectly tees up the advisor's final lesson, adopting rigorous, data-driven decision-making using KPIs or key performance indicators.
Right.
The advisor points out that executives at major corporate conglomerates do not guess. They don't rely on gut feelings regarding marketing spend. If they invest capital into a campaign, they demand a provable, traceable return on investment.
And to bridge that gap for the spa owner, the advisor introduces a specialized dashboard system called Capixi to centralize the metrics that actually move the needle.
Getting away from the vanity metrics.
Exactly. They immediately pivot away from vanity metrics like TikTok views or just follower counts, focusing instead on the lead-to-customer conversion rate. And the owner shares an incredible insight here.
Oh, but the interactions.
Yes. She notes that with her specific high-ticket clientele, it sometimes takes 11 distinct interactions with her brand before a client finally commits to booking.
11, which fundamentally changes how you view a marketing campaign.
Totally.
If your tracking software only attributes a sale to the final click, you mistakenly assume the first 10 nurturing interactions were completely worthless.
When they were actually doing all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. By tracking the conversion rate holistically over a longer time horizon, you validate the entire pipeline.
They also lock in on optimizing the customer lifetime value and plugging their churn rate rather than just obsessing over top of funnel acquisition.
The owner realizes she has 29 active, recurring monthly memberships.
Which is a gold mine.
It is. This is the pivot from scaling by volume to scaling by depth. She already paid the acquisition cost to get those 29 people through the door.
Right. The hard part is done.
So if she can evaluate those specific membership packages, increase the average order value of those visits, and drastically reduce the churn like keeping them subscribed for 2 years instead of 6 months. She exponentially increases her bottom line revenue without spending a single additional dollar on TikTok ads.
But you stop trying to constantly fill a leaky bucket and instead focus on sealing the bottom.
That's exactly it. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the advisor is basically demystifying the analytics. KPIs aren't just cold variables in a spreadsheet.
What are they then?
A conversion rate, a churn metric, an average order value. These are the digital footprints of human behavior. By tracking the data accurately across a centralized dashboard, you are simply reading the story of how real people interact with your brand.
Wow. It reframes the entire concept of data analysis. It takes the intimidation factor completely out of the equation.
It really does.
Looking back at the arc of this advising session, the transformation is incredible. I mean, we listened to an overwhelmed founder start her day dodging manipulative family ultimatums and managing a teenager's roadside emergency.
All in the first few minutes?
Right. Yet, through the physical discipline of grounding herself, she maps out a comprehensive strategy to enforce hard financial transparency, synthesize her genuine personality into scalable automation, and adopt a high-level tracking dashboard to optimize her recurring revenue.
It is the messy, unpredictable reality of human life methodically tamed by systematic operational thinking.
Well said. And for you listening, whether you are managing a rapidly expanding medical spa, trying to scale a digital side hustle, or, just navigating your own household budget amidst a chaotic week, the core principles remain the exact same.
They apply everywhere.
You have to demand absolute clarity from your partners, even when the interpersonal dynamics are highly uncomfortable. You have to automate the repetitive friction in your daily operations, but do the manual work up front to keep your authentic voice intact.
Oh.
And you have to stop guessing, fix your broken tracking loops, and start measuring the behavior that actually drives your goals.
This raises an important question, though.
Oh.
Yeah. We're moving rapidly into an era where dashboards can track every microscopic behavioral metric, and automation can scale our exact tone of voice to thousands of people simultaneously.
True.
But as we push small business owners to optimize every single interaction for maximum lifetime value, are we risking something fundamental?
What do you mean?
Well, if we train founders to rely entirely on predictive data and hyper-tracking, do we risk optimizing out the organic, unmeasurable, creative risk-taking that built their businesses in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, at what point does the obsession with the dashboard turn a passionate visionary into just a stressed-out data analyst?
Oh, that is a phenomenal corollary. You can build the most robust tracking API in the world, but if the hyper-focus on data paralyzes your creative intuition, you've lost the magic that made clients want 11 interactions with your brand to begin with.
Exactly.
Keep your balance on the board, protect your creative intuition, and stay grounded. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.